We are live. Ryan Hughes, my guest, Jason Pike, Big 49 Radio, and here we go. So let's start it off with the little motocross.
Let's talk little motocross.
Motocross.
Last week, the Wonder Boy himself, Jet Lawrence, actually pulled it out, and the Wonder Boy Deegan pulled it out.
I saw Deegan yesterday in the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, he came in with Christian Craig. So,
okay.
Again, everybody can say this, everybody can say that, but those guys are going to come through at some time.
Yep.
With the talent that they have, the drive that they have, the support that they have behind them, they're going to come through. And it showed last weekend. And now, once they kind of got that, okay, things are set in order. Not that I can do it again. They already knew they could do it, but just things are set in order. You're going to probably see a lot more consistent wins come from these guys. And so I would imagine this weekend you're going to see kind of the same thing of these two dominating a little bit more. Of course, in the 450 class, you're going to have Eli and Sexton there because those three, to me, are kind of owning the field.
Yep.
And it's going to be between them. The 250F class, it's really between two guys, but I don't know if Juju has that. He's tough, and he goes for it. But I don't know if he just has the experience that Deegan has, even though he's still – new to the game. He's just been in there for a couple years, and that helps a little bit,
Okay.
And I think, Deegan just has a little bit more FU in him than maybe Juju, but I don't know,
I would not only agree with you, I think this is really Deegan's year to dominate 250s. I mean, he's already proven that he can dominate 250s, but really he needs to do kind of a soup to nuts all the way through. Not to say I have anything against Joe Shimoda, but I think he's one of the only competitors that could actually compete against Hayden in any level.
I think the only way that he could compete against Hayden, of course he's not going to with his fingers, but the only way that he's going to compete against Hayden was Anaheim 1.
Yep.
This type of story is he gets the whole shot and Deegan gets buried in the pack a little bit. But head-to-head, nah. No, there's no way. Deegan's too aggressive. He can hang it out on the edge where Joe can't. And I have to put my foot in my mouth from a couple podcasts ago saying that I didn't think Joe's that tough. Well, he proved me wrong, with two broken fingers, still, racing the way he is and getting the results that he is. I'm impressed with the kid. But just when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, the nitty gritty, I just don't know if you'd have that, what Deegan can pull out, because Deegan can always kind of pull out this little extra. And that's very important, very important.
It's extremely important, and that's why I'm saying I think that if Deegan can do what Jet Lawrence has done in the 450 division and what Jet did in the 250 division, if Deegan can come in and literally just dominate like that, he'll probably fast track into the 450s. But what I'm worried about in the 250 division is the talent pool doesn't seem very deep, and it's kind of a prediction that you had made a while back.
Well, I think we'll have a little bit of change of focus with East Coast because it seems like that's a little bit more stacked this year.
Okay.
But, you're looking at the little New Zealand kid. He's very impressive.
Yes.
Juju is still very young.
Yes.
And then there's some guys on the East Coast that's going to be, coming up. But, yeah, I guess the thing is that the field would look more deep if they all raced together. But when you split a field up, it'd be like the 450. If they had an east and west, well, there'd be 5 guys here and 5 guys here. It wouldn't look so deep. But the 450 is racing all together, so you have 10 deep, 15 deep. And so that's why sometimes we think that maybe the pool, isn't that deep. But then you got Defron that's coming up that's starting to ride good too.
Yep.
He's young. So, again, it looked different if they had it the same as the 450 class as everybody together. But when you split them up, well, then the depth isn't that far,
Okay.
And then also when you have some phenoms like Deegan, like Juju, they're gonna outclass themselves. Even the kid from New Zealand, they're so much above everybody. The only person that's keeping up with them is a guy who's 30 years old, which is Smith.
Yes.
Right, and that's called experience. So, when you have that, then the field's going to look a little bit less than because you have some, have some phenoms.
So let's talk about this for a second when you're talking about Jordan Smith. He's really come close to the edge. He's gotten really, really close to, winning in a lot of situations. But at that last couple races, he just kind of falls off, or he'll get injured. Is there something he could do to change that, or is there something he could do to advance that a little bit, to be a little bit more? Because to me, unless I see racing in the 250 division, actual racing, it becomes boring.
Yeah, I mean, last weekend was a little bit boring.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say a little bit. I have to kind of go back to my day and myself. Is that there wasn't anybody so exceptionally better, but just sometimes they're just that much, just a teeny bit better, or a little bit more technical, or whatever it is. Then you kind of, because a lot of stuff is like. I'd get second, and this guy, there's always someone just teeny bit faster that day or whatever. So it's kind of like Jordan Smith, great rider, very fit, very fast. But then you have these phenoms.
Yeah.
In my day, I had phenoms. I had Jeremy, Jeff, and then it's just like Ricky and all these things. It's just like sometimes you just got to almost put your hands up because you don't know why.
But I think you were fortunate to have that. That really good stacked deck, because I think it forced everybody in that crew to ride at a different level.
Yeah, I guess fortunate to challenge me, but not my bank. It wasn't fortunate for my bank account.
True. I 100% agree with you there. But
it took all of it.
It took all the purse money.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you there that it wasn't good for the bank account, but it was definitely good for, I think, your riding abilities.
Yeah, of course, we all push ourselves, challenge ourselves, and that's again why you're seeing the 450 class and all that kind of everybody. Becoming so much better now, because these riders will up everybody else's game. But you're also seeing, I think you're kind of seeing the lack of battle, the lack of racing now, is because everybody is so precise right now, because everybody's technique has become so good, so clean, because there's not different riders now. Everybody is riding so smooth, so calculated, so smooth, because the technique has changed.
Yeah.
And also the way you ride these motorcycles is very smooth, consistent. If you don't ride the bike the way it's been designed to ride, you're actually going to go slower. Back in my day, we had like a Guy Cooper, you had a me, you had a Jeremy, you had a Bale, you had a this. So there's different styles, but you could go each style could go just as fast on a 2-stroke.
Yes.
But a 4-stroke, if you rode wild, you're not going to go fast at all. So you have to ride, as wild as Eli's probably is the most aggressive you could be on a 450. Any more than that, you're just going to go slower, right? So I think that's why you're seeing nobody scrubbing anymore. When's the last time you seen anybody scrub? Nobody scrubs. Nobody scrubs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's much more of a calculated game in their technique, in their way, and I think because the speeds are up so high that there's only one way to get through the whole race, and that's to be so calculated.
So I was going to bring that up, which is this a calculated risk moment of I'm not going to risk injury, I'm not going to risk a problem, I just may as well not even fight for the lead? Or is this something where riders are just forced to say, I can ride at my limit, period, in a discussion? Because I noticed that with Eli a couple times, and we really haven't talked about the 450s. I'd like to stick with the 250s right now, because the 250 division is so, I would say, at least 250 West is so misstacked with Hayden and Joe being out with the injury. You just don't, Hayden just walked away with it.
Yeah.
And it didn't make for exciting races. Is that because those other riders aren't going to risk it, and it's not worth risking it? It's better to ride the series than it is to win the race?
Well, I guess, like I said, Hayden has a gift that most don't have.
Yes.
And that's the lack of fear of failure. He doesn't have a fear of failure. And one of the best comments I've heard on him was, he rides like he came from nothing.
Yep.
And so when you don't have the fear of failure, you're able to ride that little extra. You're able to get away with the things he gets away with. You're able to push those limits. But when you have that fear of failure, you're always going to be what if, what could, what might. What if, what could, what might. Okay. And that's not that extra little bit. And I don't think Juju has a fear of failure either.
Okay.
But there's so many kids out there and riders that have this fear of failure that it almost like suffocates them. Right?
Yeah.
And so you look at Jet doesn't have a fear of failure. No. Eli doesn't have a fear of failure. I don't think Sexton has one, so to speak. This year he's riding so much better, and sometimes I think he's the fastest guy.
Yeah.
Just, last weekend you had some slipperiness or whatever. But, that's the gift, is not having that fear of failure. That's the biggest. If I could have one gift, if I was a racer, that's what it would be.
Okay.
Because you're not ever thinking about the what if, what could. You're only thinking about what's gonna.
Yep.
What you want. And that's, so you're always thinking offensively. You're not thinking defensively. And if you think defensively, then you're going to suffocate yourself. If you're thinking offensively, you're going to open yourself up. And so nobody's going to beat somebody that doesn't have a fear of failure, meaning that they're not willing to crash. They're just not thinking about the what if, what could, what might. They're not bringing the past into the present.
Yes.
Right? Oh, this happened before. Yeah, but it happened 2 years ago. So why are you worried about it now? And I don't see Deegan having that at all. I don't see Juju having that at all. And, maybe some big crashes, maybe some this, maybe that. That's when stuff starts to happen. But there's other kids that they're overthinkers.
Okay.
They're overthinkers. And I don't think Deegan and Juju really think that much, not meaning they're dumb. They just go off complete instinct. They go off complete intuition. They're initiating everything. They're ahead of the bike, so they're initiating what they want.
They're
that
looking
bike.
ahead.
They want that. They're initiating what they want that bike to do.
Yeah.
Not waiting for the bike to do something, then they're catching up to it. That's called reaction, right? And reaction's always from the past.
So when you're in the race itself, are you looking at the race itself, or are you looking ahead to the next obstacle and you're just moving through that last obstacle?
Yeah. I mean, that's where motocross is. It's so different than anything because you can't plan too far ahead, and that's where, I feel motocrossers are a little bit different. We're so present in our ways, like we're so one-dimensional because you can only focus on this corner and only focus on that whoop section, only focus on that rhythm section. Yes, you're setting things up, planning ahead, but you're completely focused on this one situation because there's so many ruts, bumps, rocks, holes, notches, whatever it is.
Yes.
And so you have to be at where that motorcycle is. You can, you're planning stuff from instinct because you've done it, the couple laps before, so you know where to go and where to set up. But you're always where that bike is, and so. That's kind of where it's so different. I feel some other races you can maybe think farther ahead because you don't have to worry about a rut. You don't have to worry about a bump or this or that, right? So let's say road racing, you don't have to worry about some of these things, just maybe slippery condition, but there's not 10 other problems that can come from it.
Is the race strategy different in Supercross than it is in outdoor?
No.
Okay.
No, it's the same. It's the same.
The speeds are much different.
Yeah, the speeds are different, but the approach is the same.
Okay.
It's just you're going faster. You still have bumps and ruts and all these different things. You just go about outdoors differently than you do Supercross. Supercross, everything's happening quicker. Outdoors, things are happening very quick, but you have more time to get to those places. You know what I mean?
100%.
So things are happening quick because of speed. But in Supercross, things are happening quick because of obstacle.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So we've just cleared Moto 1, by the way.
Holy shit, that was 20 minutes?
Yeah, you just smoked.
There's no possible way it's 20 minutes.
Yeah, you smoked through Moto 1 right there.
That was quick.
Dude, that's what I need to tell my woman. No, girl, that was 20 minutes.
That was 20
Just
minutes.
20 minutes, not two.
You smoked through Moto 1 right there. So when we come back, let's talk about the 450 division because I have a lot of questions this year with regards to the 450 division.
Okay.
I also wanted to talk to you about Ken Roxon.
Yep.
And what he's been doing for Suzuki this season. I was blown away last week, so I want to go into all of that next break. So let's come back, talk 450s. This is your show.
All right, yeah, let's do it. We'll do that, and then again, I want to, get Jason on here and kind of speak what some real life. I don't want all my podcasts just to be about motocross. I know you're a big fan of it, but so am I. But there's different parts of my life and different parts of life that people need to possibly go, huh?
100%.
So.
Okay. We will come back.
We'll be back. Peace.
Good deal.